Breaking news. The BRICS countries of China, Russia, and Brazil have a meeting. The leaders of China, Russia, and Brazil have started talks about forming a common currency for the BRICS group. Over the phone, Presidents Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, and Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva discussed the upcoming BRICS summit, as well as other topics, including the ongoing peace process in Ukraine and mutual strategic partnerships. Brazil's President Lula has spoken out in favor of a unified currency, arguing that it will help developing countries become economically stable and self-sufficient. Presidents Xi Jinping of China, Vladimir Putin of Russia, and Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva of Brazil have begun talking about how their countries can work together as part of the BRICS bloc in a series of high-level phone conversations. The BRICS group of countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, exemplifies the strength of emerging markets in the global economy. The upcoming Leaders Summit is being discussed, with much of the talk focusing on the potential for a unified BRICS currency. Developing stronger strategic alliances. After talking to Presidents Xi and Putin, President Lula, an advocate for a shift away from the US dollar toward national currencies and a potential shared BRICS currency, spoke with President Putin first. These partnerships highlight the potential of the BRICS economic bloc and the growing influence of the participating nations to shape the global economic landscape. President Lula tweeted after the call, "I just spoke by phone with President of Russia, Vladimir Putin. I appreciated him inviting me to the International Economic Forum in St. Petersburg and I thanked him for the opportunity." He also noted Brazil's willingness to join India, Indonesia, and China in helping to mediate the Ukraine conflict. According to the Kremlin's announcement, the two leaders exchanged assessments of the situation in Ukraine and their thoughts on the recent G7 summit in Hiroshima, Japan. Putin and Lula discussed the Russian-Brazilian strategic partnership, with both leaders expressing an eagerness to increase Russian and Brazilian cooperation in a variety of fields. The global situation, the search for peace in Ukraine, the strategic partnership between their countries, and the upcoming BRICS summit were all topics of conversation between President Lula and President Xi. The August Leaders Summit is expected to discuss the group's push for de-dollarization, or the replacement of the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. In April, Lula said, "I am in favor of creating, within the BRICS, a trading currency between our countries, just like the Europeans created the euro." He suggests that a common currency could aid developing countries in achieving economic autonomy and stability. Meanwhile, President Putin highlighted Russia's participation in a wide variety of international organizations, including the BRICS, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, SCO, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, the Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC, and groups in Latin America and Africa. The BRICS countries, led by China, Russia, and Brazil, are actively working towards a future in which they rely less on traditional financial structures and more on mutual cooperation and shared currencies, as evidenced by their intense engagement. The upcoming BRICS summit in August is drawing a lot of attention as these discussions continue. Please note that the content provided is not intended as investment advice. If you make a financial decision based on the content of this page, you do so at your own risk. Cryptopolitan.com is not responsible in any way. Before making any financial commitment, it is essential that you do your own due diligence and/or speak with an expert.